Hey parents, Dr. Jim at Five Parks Chiropractic. Today we're going to talk about allergies. I mean, who doesn't know of someone or ourselves, maybe the entire family, who suffers from seasonal allergies? I mean, what in the heck is going on? Why is this such an issue? You know, if you look back in time, if you look back in the 40s and the 50s, you know, we didn't have seasonal allergies. They really didn't exist. I mean, technically, you're more of an agricultural industry. So we were on farms, man, and we were just out there being exposed to everything, and nobody had allergies. So how do you explain this? Well, it's a really interesting story. There was a missionary, a medical doctor out of upstate New York, and he was in Africa 3 months out of the year, roughly, for, a decade, a long time. And in his practice in New York, he had a lot of allergies, like we all knew about. Allergy-induced asthmas was a kind of a big deal in his conversation on this subject. But when he was in Africa taking care of the natives there, nobody had allergy-induced asthmas. Nobody had allergies. So he's just trying to figure out what's the correlation. Well, when he got back to the States, he actually got a contract through National Institute of Health, NIH, and what they did is they sponsored him to do a research project on this. And he found categories of people that were more sensitive to allergies than not. So the first one was highly susceptible to allergies here in the United States if he lived with what he called a Clorox mom. So basically it was a house that was sanitary. There was only one child in the home. There was no siblings. The child did not go to daycare, and the place was bleached and just down to like no germs. Highest incident of allergy-induced asthma. Second category was same kind of household, but had siblings, a little less. Third category was multiple siblings, same category of household, but they went to daycare. They got a little less allergies. When you go through the entire spectrum, the kids that had no allergies or very, very low incidence of allergies had multiple siblings, went to daycare, they were out in the world riding their bikes. I've told you before, I'm from Las Vegas. I used to drink out of the gutter when I was a little kid. You know, the sprinklers would go down. So that kind of lifestyle, nobody had allergies. So you're thinking, what exactly is going on? What's the mechanism here? Well, ultimately, your body, everybody's body, is designed through their nervous system to perceive their environment. Not only the outside environment, but the interior environment too. So when you bring in gutter water, when you get allergies, when you get pollens and dander and germs and bacteria and viruses and all these things come into your body, then your body through its nervous system actually sets up a way to combat these challenges. On another video I told you that Dr. Bruce Lipton said that the job of the central nervous system is to perceive, first part of the quote, and then to coordinate the function. But perceive, go back to that word. If your body through its sensory system is not perceiving the environment accurately, it has less information to adapt and to produce a higher function. So we're going to talk about this nerve again because it kind of comes up on almost everything we talk about. It's called the vagus nerve. So kind of remember, what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas, not on the nerve, not like the Las Vegas place. Your vagus nerve is a cranial nerve that comes out of your brain. It actually comes right out of your brain's stem. And vagus is a Latin word for wanderer. So this nerve is literally over miles long. It kind of goes, it's a long path. It comes down through the neck, through the torso, into the abdomen, and it controls the upper 2/3 of our gut, our heart, and lungs. It's a sensory nerve that's exclusively parasympathetic. So if our children, if our aunts and uncles, if our neighbors, if we have stress on our vagus nerve, our body cannot perceive its environment as accurately as it should. This then gives our body less availability to adapt, to heal, recover, and set up its own defense mechanisms. And then we end up in these patterns where now it takes, a medication to control our sinus problems. So, how many medications are out there for that? I don't even know them half the time. They're just everywhere. But we don't want to suppress symptoms. We want to encourage health. We want your body to learn how to take care of itself. So this is how we're made. This is how God put us together. It's not a complicated pattern. We just need to live a natural lifestyle. So I did take public health in school, and if anybody's watching this video and they ever took public health, especially in college, you get pretty paranoid. It's an intense program. So I lovingly say that I'm a bit of a germaphobe, but I only do it with soap and water. I respect bacteria and germs. I don't like run and hide from them, but I have a lot more information about them, and so I'm very careful about germs and bacteria, but I don't necessarily think that they're gonna hurt me. They're more gonna help me. 98% of all bacteria is beneficial to our body, life-affirming. It's called symbiosis, but mostly it's the bacteria that comes technically from feces is the biggest issue. All the rest is fine. That's why the 5-second rule kind of still works. It's okay. But we want to be outside. We don't want to take Flonase or the other medications and stay inside and get back on a, Minecraft or some kind of video game. We want to get the kids outside. We want to get them exposed to the allergens and the danders and the germs and the bacteria. We want their nervous system to be healthy so that it can adapt and heal and recover and restore. So if this makes sense to you and you have allergy issues and you've had them for your whole life, even as adults, there is ways to reprogram your nervous system and get it back online. If you have a child who has allergy-induced asthma or allergy-induced seasonal allergies, earlier we talked about milestones, when our babies are born, and then when they get into adolescence, when they get into a teenager, when they get into adulthood, they have to go through these milestones, these steps and these steps. So what does a baby need to do at the very beginning? Mostly just its gut. It just needs to be able to has to move his head so he can, get on the breast, but ultimately he just has to have a gut. Then that actually goes into your immune system. Then the gut develops in the immune system. If your vagus nerve is dysfunctional, he's not going to have or she's not going to have the healthiest gut, and then the healthiest immune system. And then the next milestone, then the healthiest speech. The next milestone, the healthiest emotional stability. And the next milestone, obviously cognitive, brain, intelligence. So if we go way back to childhood and your child has allergies, it's kind of like, oh, this lets me know if I get this resolved, then every milestone my child is going through, emotional development, speech, cognitive, we have a greater potential. Remember, it's not about symptom resolution. It's ultimately about potential. I want everybody to live their potential. And if we get to these things early, we get to them without drugs, without surgery, without any artificial application, just adjustments to the human spine, exercise, movement, good nutrition, this is how we find our true health.